Yo guys, and welcome back to another video. The Battle of Dazar'alor raid preview and schedule is out. What I want to do is I just want to take you guys through it, go over some key points and what I think of the actual raid coming out. So obviously, this is the first raid where the Horde and the Alliance will be doing different things, but in the long run they'll be doing the same things. So some key points. 9 raid bosses. Difficulties, obviously, Raid Finder, Normal, Heroic, Mythic. You've got to be 120. Minimum item level is 350. That is for Raid Finder, so that's not that much of an increase. That's only 30 item levels different from Old Year. Obviously, the unlock schedule, Normal and Heroic difficulties released at the same time on the 22nd of January. That's something that's happened before. We're kind of used to that. 1 week later, well, no, 1 week later, you've obviously got Mythic and the first Raid Finder wing. Following week number 2, following week number 3. So if we go down a little bit, this is the key part. So I'm just going to read through this and obviously follow along as I read through. So Horde players will begin the raid by defending against an invasion in the northern jungle of Zuldazar in the defense of Dazar'alor. In the heart of Zuldazar, the tables will turn. The Horde will experience the story and a trio of encounters from the perspective of the Alliance. During this act, Death's Bargain, Horde characters will be transformed into soldiers of the opposite factions, including their associated traits based on their race. So this is massive. For raid groups who are used to using Horde racials, they may be minimum, or they may not help a lot, but to have them changed, that's going to cause massive disruption. So when I read through this and found out what my main was going to turn into, I was like, what? That, in a sense, would help me, but their racial isn't very high, so we'll go through them. So, Blood Elves. Most Blood Elves players will transform into humans, while Demon Hunters will become Night Elves. That's obviously for lore reasons. Obviously, humans can't be demon hunters. Goblins, obviously goblin heroes will transform into gnomes, except from hunters and shamans who will become dwarves. I think that's just a size thing, kind of taking the short ass goblins and making them into short ass gnomes. Orcs will be transformed into dwarves. Obviously, I would have thought the orcs would have turned into worgens or something like that, but dwarves is a kind of, it makes sense, and obviously they talk about a shift in perspective, obviously height difference. Pandaren will stay Pandaren. I can see why they've done this, however, it would have been nice if they mixed up a little bit. Those Panda players may want to try something different, they may want to feel included. Ever since Mr. Pandera ended, it kind of feels like the Pandaren have been left alone. Okay, they weren't a great race, or they weren't a great... they weren't received greatly, but don't just leave them. There are players who really like the Pandaren and play them. At the moment, my priest is a Pandaren, and will probably play as a Pandaren throughout this raid until, obviously, the race change comes in Zuldazar. Tauren. So, most Taurens will turn into Draenei. Obviously, my main is a Tauren, so I'm going to become a big goat. While Druids will become Night Elves. Again, I feel like the Tauren Druids should have become Worgen. It's just a size thing, really. Trolls will mostly transform into Night Elves. Troll Shamans will become Draenei. Again, that makes sense since the Worgen can't be Druids. And Warlocks will become human. Okay, they could have tried something different, but okay, that bog standard. Undead, these players will transform into humans. I think that's the most sensible thing. So, in the final act of Death or Victory, the Horde will once again play as themselves as they attempt to push the Alliance back from the high seat, eventually confronting several key Alliance leaders. So that's the kind of first bit for the Horde. Let's have a look at the Alliance. So the Alliance is to stage an attack on the heart of the Zandalari Empire, in a bid to sever the ties of the Zandalari and the Horde. They begin with a naval strike on the docks of Dazar'alor, in the siege of Dazar'alor, and push their way towards Rastakan's throne room in the heart of Dazar'alor in Empire's Fall. To cap off the event, players will speak to a scout to shift to the Horde perspective and take on the final 3 Alliance bosses. During this act, the might of the Alliance players will form into the soldiers of the opposite faction, again, including their associated races based on their race. So, the Draenei will transform into Tauren, the same mages who'll become orcs. Okay, that's kind of vice versa. The dwarves will turn into orcs, again, as it was with the Horde. Paladins will become Tauren. That again makes sense. Priests will become undead. Okay, I personally feel like they could have been Tauren as well. Undead doesn't really excite me. The undead never have. Gnomes, these will be transformed into goblins, except for the monks who will become blood elves again because they can't. Humans will become undead. Makes sense. Become paladins. Will become blood elves. Again, makes sense. Night elf players will transform into trolls, except those who become blood elves. Again, it would be nice if they'd done this the same way round. Again, pandas will stay pandas. And then here we come Worgen. All Worgens will be turned into trolls. See, I don't know why they couldn't have done that the other way around, because it feels like the Worgen, again, like the pandas, are kind of being left alone. So, the bosses, I'm not going to go through all the bosses and what they do, but I'm going to tell you who they are. So we have Champion of the Light, seems like some sort of paladin boss. Jadefire Masters, I presume that this is some sort of shaman. Grong, the Revenant, have no really idea, but obviously just scanning through, some sort of dead. In the second bit, Opulence. This must be the golden kind of elemental. Conclave of the Chosen. This is the 6. I think it's, yes, the 6. No, not the 6. This is about the lower and their devoted followers. King Rastakan. Obviously, we've kind of seen that coming since he made that bargain with Bwonsamdi. And obviously, in the Might of the Alliance bit, we'll be fighting High Tinker Mechatork. Thank God we get to kill a gnome. The Stormwall Blockade. Again, that's something to do with the Coltirans. And then obviously Jaina Proudmoore herself, which I do know that Bloodlust isn't going to be effective to in the normal way. So obviously if we go down a little bit more, we've got the achievements, obviously killing certain bosses. This is obviously you've got all difficulties. Then obviously you've got normal difficulty and above, and then you've got mythic. So if you kill Lady Jaina Proudmoore, you get the title, obviously, Hero of Dazal. Well, you don't kill Jaina Proudmoore, you defeat her. So I presume she's going to teleport away, that kind of same shit. And that's pretty much it. So, am I excited for it? Yes, I'm excited because it's different. Is it kind of making me go, I want to do this now? No. The rewards aren't great. Item levels are great. Transmogs aren't great. Especially from the, for the mail wearers, as my shaman is a mail wearer. It doesn't look great. I'll put a picture of the mail armor somewhere as I talk now. Is it different? Yes, it's different. I like the fact that the Horde and the Alliance are doing different things. Obviously, they can't do totally different things because that wouldn't be fair on the progression of raids, but it still makes you, I don't know. It's not the same old WoW stuff. They're making things different and they're making things exciting. Is it good that we're actually becoming a little bit more battle for Azeroth? Yeah. We haven't really seen the Horde and the Alliance fight. And I know that sounds stupid, with things like Warfronts and things like the Assaults. Obviously, the Horde and the Alliance are becoming much more fighting against each other. And the war campaigns, which I like. The very first part of Battle for Azeroth, I understand they were trying to make us fit in where we were, trying to gain the trust of the people that we were relying on help with, but I felt like it dragged out for too long. Now, it's becoming much more realistic, and I'm enjoying that. Do I think that they'll move on to 8.2 too fast? Personally, yes. they've crammed so much into this expansion so far. Obviously, I don't know what's going to happen in 8.2 to the storyline as such, but obviously we move on to watery things, and obviously we've still got Sargeras' sword penetrated into the Azeroth's crust. So there's a lot of things they have to do before the end of the expansion, and I hope that no part is rushed too quickly. And that's pretty much it. The raid, I will be raiding. I am trying to do normal on the first week. LFR, I'm not looking forward to, especially with what happened with Uldir. And I'm ahead of the curve on, especially my main, is I've got to do it. But that's pretty much it. Just a quick preview on the raid of what Blizzard have given us. And obviously, as the raid comes out, I will record, I will do live reactions, and I'm actually looking to do it on my main, so I may have longer videos. So again, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.